Does Qatar Airways have the best short-haul economy in the world? Today I'm on a short hop from Bahrain's modern and very impressive airport over to Doha on a Qatar A320. I'll be enhancing the economy experience somewhat by using my Oneworld Emerald status, whilst reviewing the overall economy experience and looking out for any nice touches that could put Qatar ahead of the competition. Let's get going. We're really looking forward to flying over to Doha today. We've actually been through Doha Airport quite a few times, but it's always in transit to somewhere else. So we're quite excited to finally be arriving, going through immigration and actually checking out Qatar. And we'd really enjoyed our visit to Bahrain too. We'd primarily just flown here because it was an easy BA first class redemption to get us over to the Middle East. But we'd had a really enjoyable few days here. Arriving into Bahrain, we've been really impressed with how nice the airport seems, so we're looking forward to seeing what it's like on the departure side. The airport is the Gulf's oldest airport, having originally opened in 1927, but it's undergone quite a lot of modern renovations. Particularly since 2020, there's been a lot of development focused on making it all sustainable, and a new $1.1 billion terminal opened in 2021. And it's a really nice airport, very clean, very open, lots of high ceilings. And they did something quite interesting for check-in. So for business and first class passengers or those with status, there's an entirely different section of the airport that you go to check in. And this is for the use of all the airlines, not just one or two. We were actually here pretty early for our flight. Our original flight choice was 11 AM, but unfortunately Qatar did cancel that and we were rebooked to about 6:30 PM. But we still decided to make our way over to the airport not too long after our hotel checkout. We didn't really have any other plans for the day, and we thought we may as well just go get checked in and go get through to the lounge. Unfortunately, check-in wasn't quite open yet, but there were some nice comfy seats for us to wait in, and it's very easy to tell which one was going to be the Qatar check-in desk thanks to the burgundy carpet. Thankfully, someone came along about 3 hours before departure to check us in, and we were very quickly through the priority immigration and fast-track security. My bag of course got picked up for extra checks, as it does at every stop on this journey, the perils of travelling with camera equipment and microphones. Thankfully the lounge was a very short distance away from security and we were able to make our way straight up. Qatar uses the Pearl Lounge in Bahrain and it's a really impressive space. I didn't have huge hopes for a third party lounge, but it was really nice. And you definitely get quite a premium feel immediately as you walk through the entrance. There's loads of different rooms with different places to sit. All of the rooms are decorated slightly differently with a different theme going on. Some of them are actually quite grand and others just seem more like a standard airport lounge. And I always appreciate when a lounge has the option of views out to the tarmac. Towards the back of this section there was also a bit of a games room area. There was a pool table out, as well as table football or foosball, and pretty much every seating area had loads of charging options as well. And I was also quite surprised to see there was a special area where you could order alcoholic drinks, although I was still recovering from all the boozing on a recent BA first class flight, so I decided not to partake today, and instead we made our way pretty much straight to the food. There was a decent buffet available, nothing too crazy, but it was nice enough. But from the quality of the lounge itself, we were expecting slightly better food than what was made available. But it was enough to fill us up, and thankfully before leaving we did realise that there was also a separate area of the lounge that was serving up pizza, so we were able to grab a couple of slices before we left. After grabbing this, I also found an area of the lounge where I realised we could actually see our gate from a window. I'm usually the person who wants to be at the gate when boarding's called and immediately on the plane, and I'm usually rushing out the lounge way earlier than we need to, so it's quite handy to be able to just look out the gate and see if they were boarding yet or not. And as soon as we saw that they were, we got up, left the lounge and made our way straight down. A bit of confusion when we got to the gate. Our Oneworld status put us boarding group 2, and when we got down to the gate it seemed like most people had already gone through, but we were told no, we're only boarding group 1 at the moment. What he didn't tell us though was that there was a separate line for people with priority status. So after waiting around in the gate area for a while, I did manage to spot this other queue, so we went to join this section and were immediately let on board. Our flight stays on an Airbus A320. There's a small first class cabin at the front of the plane, it's in the 2-2, and we sadly had to walk past all these empty seats on our way back to economy. I really wish we had seats like this for short haul business on flights in Europe. But anyway, we made our way back to our seats, which today weren't bad at all. We've gone for the exit row, so we were at least going to have a bit of extra leg room. Plenty of space to stretch out here, but let's take a quick look around the rest of the seats. There's an in-seat pocket and USB charging at each seat. Since we were in the exit row, there was no tray table to come down from the seat in front of us. Instead, this was inside the armrest. Worth noting, this does mean that these seats are narrower than some of the other ones, and the tray table could be folded out like this. Above the seat were individual reading lights and air vents, and the seat itself was pretty comfy, a good amount of padding, there was a fully adjustable headrest, and Qatar do provide the same seat throughout the cabin, unlike certain British flag carriers who choose to install cheaper, less comfortable seats further back in the cabin. Boarding was complete pretty quickly as it wasn't a particularly full flight. Unfortunately, because we were in the exit row, I think our seats were more sought after, so we did have someone in the row next to us. But every other exit row section just had 2 people in it. And when I had a quick look around the cabin later on, it did seem that there were very few rows that actually had 3 people in. We were just one of the unlucky ones today. And in fact, towards the back of the cabin there were several rows with no one seated at all. Pushback was on time just before sunset, and we were on our way as the safety demonstration was completed. Now, as we taxi over to the runway to make our takeoff, let me talk a bit about the cost of today's flight. We redeemed Avios for these ones, and it was 7,000 Avios plus £49.70 in taxes and fees. This was instead of a cash price of about £182 each. It's not the best value redemption we've ever done in the world, but it does at least come out at above 1p per point. And since we had a high points balance at the time of booking and didn't want to be spending much cash at the time, it made sense to us. I talk a lot on this channel about how to earn and redeem these points and how to get the best value out of them. But I don't believe in always trying to get the absolute best mathematical value out of your points. You've just got to do whatever makes most sense for you. And it's always best to be able to use your points on flights that make sense for you, rather than sitting on a massive pile of points that might eventually become devalued if you don't find a use for them. Once up in the air, we were treated to some views of the city, the full moon up ahead, and once the plane had turned, I also got a great view of the sunset. And whilst this was going on, the crew had absolutely leapt into action to start the onboard service. And I had no idea what to expect from this today. I had seen clips online of people getting a decent meze on short-haul Qatar economy flights, but our time in the air was extremely short today, so they did come around to hand out this orange juice, and unfortunately that was all we got. Since I knew it wouldn't be long till we were landing again, I made a quick stop into the loos. This was nice and clean, and one thing I thought was a nice touch was they did also have this spray as well, which I'm pretty sure was an air freshener, which is a nice touch to have in an economy bathroom. Before I'd even made it back to my seat, the fasten seatbelt signs were already on, as we'd already begun our departure into Doha. I think those seatbelt signs must have only been off for a maximum of 5 minutes the whole flight, so I definitely understood why there was no snack service on this one. In theory, Wi-Fi and entertainment is available to stream on these flights, but unfortunately I didn't manage to get it to work at all throughout the flight. Not sure if that's a general technical issue, or again if that's to do with the short duration of this flight today. A bit of a weird one this, is I'd really expected that I might be able to give quite a glowing review here. All my previous flight experiences with Qatar have been absolutely brilliant, and I expected the same on a short-haul economy flight too. Everything about the flight was absolutely fine, but with that short duration of the flight there just wasn't actually much opportunity for them to really stand out. Although it did stand out in a bit of a frustrating way upon landing. We'd landed well ahead of schedule and we were really happy about it. We were really looking forward to get over to our nice hotel, and we were already a bit annoyed that we'd had to reschedule the flight after the initial one was cancelled, so arriving early was a real plus. However, they then parked us up at a bus gate. It took ages to get everyone off the plane, and the ride in the bus I think might be the longest bus gate ride I've ever had, and it was over half an hour from landing that we finally actually made it into the terminal. So all that time saved had been lost again. If you want to see what Qatar can do on a longer flight and in a higher cabin class, I'll soon be trying first and business class, so make sure you subscribe for that. And if you want to watch a previous business class long haul flight I've completed with Qatar, then go ahead and watch one of these videos next. Thanks for watching, and hopefully I'll see you in the next one.